Hi everyone, Christina here with Open Access Pilates Archives with something that I felt was interesting and rather significant. I wanted to share it with you all in case you don't know about this person who was a close friend and student of Joseph Pilates. I was reading the acknowledgements page in Return to Life, and there was someone mentioned there that triggered a little bit of an investigation on my part. Part of the acknowledgement page says, special gratitude is acknowledged to Beatrice E. Rogers for most valuable assistance rendered, and to George Hoyningen-Huene for his unusual patience and exceptional professional skill in the production of the fine photography illustrated in the technical text throughout Return to Life. So I wanted to find out more about who George Hoyningen-Huene was, and I was able to find out a little bit more by reading Eva Renke's biography on Joseph Pilates. So George was a very high-end fashion photographer. He worked for Vogue in Paris and Harper's Bazaar in the United States, and he was considered pretty much the best in his time frame in fashion photography. The way he did lighting, it truly was, they were works of art, his photographs. So Ava has given me permission to read a passage from her book, and what I'm about to read are words that come directly from George. He had there's a manuscript of his unpublished autobiography, and that is what I'm about to read an excerpt from right now. So George writes, "One of my handicaps during my photographic sitting was the strain of lifting and moving lights, scenery, and props. My colleague, the late George Platt Lyons, advised me to take a course in physical fitness at the gymnasium of Joseph Pilates. Joe's method struck me as the most reasonable and scientific approach, and after a few months I had to have all of my clothes altered. Apart from becoming a great friend of Joe's and his wife Clara, I kept up my studies for 5 years, and in the end we made a motion picture documentary, and I photographed his entire routine for his Return to Life, for his book Return to Life." So that's pretty significant. Now we know, we have a name to the person who helped Joe at the time when Joe was most prolific with documenting his work through photos and through films. Now we know who that person was. And I did order a book. It's called The Photographic Art of Hoyningen-Huene. I didn't reach out to the publisher, so I don't feel comfortable opening the book and showing the inside, but please get this book. You can buy it used and you don't have to spend a lot of money. I found a lot of copies available on Amazon. I spent $31 for mine, and the book jacket's a little tattered, but the quality is wonderful. And coincidentally, when I received this book, I opened it up to page 150, and I saw 4 pictures of a man doing Pilates. I thought that it was Ted Shawn. The body shape really, to me, looked like Ted Shawn proportion-wise, and it seemed to be a dancer doing it. But as I read the captions, it said that it was a self-portrait of George doing Pilates. So I mentioned this to Ava. She had never seen photos of George doing Pilates, so now we have that. So that alone makes this book really special. Also, I suggest just looking through the photographs that they have in this compilation of his work, because he worked with famous people like Charlie Chaplin and Judy Garland, Igor Stravinsky, so many well-known people, Gary Cooper, my grandmother's crush, but there were so many beautiful portraits and beautiful ways that these photographs were taken. Beautiful overhead shots of models lying down on the beach, which reminded me of some other things that Joseph had produced. And in that shot, the men in the shot were wearing these bathing shoes that were popular at the time that really looked just like Joseph Pilates canvas slippers, with the ribbons around the ankles that he used for the weighted shoes. So he really did use what was around him at the time. So it's a really wonderful book. I'm keeping it in my Pilates studio because I consider it part of my Pilates collection, not only because of the the photographs of George doing Pilates, but of his photographs in general. It truly is artwork, and I think it's a really significant thing that now we have a name for the person who helped Joe document his work. Thank you, and I hope you found that interesting.